I'm the Commissar. We are watching Forged Alliance Forever, and you need to be ready for some good old-fashioned 1v1 ladder, which is going down on the map Abor. In the red corner, this is Electrician. He's 1673 rated, and he's UEF. In the blue corner, this is Seraphim-Noob, who's 1574 rated, and Eon. I'm going to call him Noob this game because he's, not Seraphim, he's Eon. The map is Abor. Now, it has all these little skulls listed about it. The skulls have no purpose other than to be decorative, just like they do in your head, am I right? Every player has an expansion off to the left, which is quite easily attackable or raidable, an expansion off to the right, which is slightly safer, and then there's this line of mexes across the middle. Couple of plateaus on either side. This is a plateau only accessible by air or edge, so is this, and so is this one at the back, same on the other side. This is a pretty deep pond. You can walk into it, you can hide at the bottom of it, you can get amphibious units under or across it coming in at the ends, but this and this are cliffs. Same over here. And this big central plateau, you can get in at these 4 points. Reclaim scattered liberally everywhere. And we have an aggressive opening from Electrician. He already has 2 labs out and 2 scouts. That was all after just his first engineer. Much greedier opening from Noob, who's got 4 engies out before his first tank comes out. No labs or anything for early raiding just yet from Noob. Now, Noob's going for a classic tank-scout pair, and it looks like it's coming up the right, so this lab from Electrician, which hasn't been accompanied by a scout, I never liked that. I think you should always accompany your labs with scouts, is going to be intercepted. But this one, which came across the middle, might get some work done. There's an engineer here that, if it's lucky, it could pick off. But this engineer is going to these underwater mexes at the back, and so it's not going to be killed as yet. That lab is indeed picked off, and since Noob is Eon, his units can hover, and they will fly over the water here. And Electrician, having not found a kill here, is just going to camp this expansion, but unfortunately for him, Noob is going for it not with engies first, but with this tank and scout pair. So this lab too will die without getting any work done, I expect. Meanwhile, Noob has come out with an NG to get these mexes in the middle and grab some of the reclaim. Unsurprisingly, from his 4 NG start, we can see that Noob is ahead on both generated eco and total mass collected. And as we can see here, that lab has been picked up by this Aurora. It was already sitting in the middle of the reclaim pool, but it's added just 13 mass to this heap of delicious reclaim. Electrician also coming out to the middle, but as we said, Noob is doing a little more in the way of early expansion. And Noob is going for a little bit of a counter raid. He's got his tank and scout coming up to Electrician's expansion here, but Electrician is going for that with his comm. It is quite common, I believe, on this map to have your comm coming to this expansion. Noob is obviously hoping for just an engineer, and there is an engineer here, but Electrician has wisely supported it with a tank as it builds the hydro. So even though it's going to miss the comm, it is probably going to be shot up by this tank, and Noob wisely retreats. He's also raiding on this side with his other tank, but there's more spam here from Electrician, and more tanks beat less tanks, so that Aurora for Noob is going down. So, nice defense from Electrician, and this one tank. Where's the Electrician going with this? Oh, he's going for the reclaim first. I thought he'd be heading here, but he's going for the reclaim. Meanwhile, Noob's comm is coming straight across the middle. He's setting up, getting reclaim and mexes around the centre. That's a nice positioned radar from Electrician. He'll see a lot and it's not immediately attackable straight across the middle. However, he's sending a decent swarm of tanks, 3 tanks and a scout, down into Noob's expansion, and he's going to take out these Aurora, no problem, I think. Auroras are paper thin, and so if you get close to them and don't let them make use of their range, they die quite quickly, and they won't be making use of their range because the scout is dead, although here comes another one. And there is an engineer coming up. Is it going to die to the Aurora? No, it's not. So Noob will get a chance to colonize his expansion. On this side, though, Electrician has already built his, and so he's caught up in the eco stakes with Noob. Scuffle's in the center, but nothing's going to get any real damage done here. A little bit of a raid, but where's the scout? Auroras need scouting. And has Noob built any radar to cover this? I don't think he has. He's got 1 scout here. Electrician is pushing in. He's a bit spread out, a bit of a trickle, so there might be enough from Noob to defend, but a lot of this is just NGs, and in fact Noob's going to lose quite a few NGs over here. And he might lose his mexes as well. That mex is surely going down, and Noob's just backing up. Yeah, Electrician could just take out all the mexes, and he will, I think, before this clutch of tanks is wiped out by the counter-attack, and he does. On this side, we're getting a similar attack from Noob, but it is moderately less effective. It does take out a factory, but Electrician's here with his comm and he's built a point defense. 1 factory, 1 mex taken out, and Noob feels forced to back up. In the middle though, Noob is pushing forward with his comm, and there's an attempt to get up a point defense here, but if Noob pushes, he can just deny that easy peasy. Don't know if he knows about it yet though, or he would be. Nevertheless, his comm is racking up veterancy. He's picked off both these mexes, which is nice, and he's 10 eco ahead, which when Electrician's eco is only 33, that's a big advantage. Now, both players do have T2 land, but Electrician is only building these NGs apart from maybe this 1 pillar as yet, whereas I can see a lot more in the way of tanks coming out from Noob. So Noob might have the tech advantage in actual combat for a while. And here we can see what these cliffs and rivers mean. Noob can push up here facing nothing, Electrician can push down here facing nothing, and he'll probably get these mexes off Noob. However, multiple blazes, and blazes are excellent against T1 units, are coming up in defense, and Electrician is going to be forced to fall back. And he is, as the Auroras also swarm in. Production going up in the middle. Map control looks like it's slightly in favour of Noob, as he's got and defended these mexes over here. Electrician, though, has dropped his plateaus up here, but Noob hasn't. Push from Noob. However, there are now pillars enough to defend out from Electrician, and shield generators to help them out, and as Electrician swarms in around them, this pillar's probably going down. Actually, it might not. Pillars are tough. Electrician's got more than enough to defend. The blazes come in, sweeping in from the left. But both teams back away without inflicting any significant damage. Noob sending a raid around the far right with a huge number of Auroras and a few blazes, and that could get massive damage done. Looks like Electrician's seen it and is moving across to, but he's going to have some problems with that cliff getting any line of sight on it. The T2 armies in the left skirmish. The shield is doing excellent work for Electrician, as Blazes, though high in firepower, are quite weak in hit points. Noob is sending his comm to help out, but he's still got some way to walk. And that engineer was a bit out of position. Is Noob just going to try and push in up here? Let's find out. On the left, this force of tanks is just running by and ignoring this army, and on the right, that raid we saw going around this side is pushing in. There is some sort of defense, but this is all arty, and arty is terrible against mobile units charging in. Arty is for attack, not defense. However, there's mongies here, there's pillars here, and there's Electrician's comm, which will probably be able to defend. I think Noob might be forced to fall back. On this side, Noob's army has rushed in with his comm following up behind, but we've got Electrician bringing his units around and sending more out from the base. Will the comm make the difference? On the right, we have Noob falling back, and Noob's brought some other units round through the middle. That's fantastic work, and this is a huge force. It can't attack directly here because of these point defences, but it can certainly do some damage in the back of Electrician's base, and Electrician has been able to clear up most of this and drive what little is left away. So let's come and focus over here. Electrician has undefended mexes and also his Hydro, and this T2 Pigeon would be an amazing pickup if Noob can get it. I think there's going to be a lot of damage here. Noob already has the eco lead, and this is only going to add to it. Come on, Noob, just send one of those blazers back there to kill that mex. It'll be great. And Noob himself, with his comm, is still down here and stopping any advance or counter push. He should advance, I think. He should push in with his comm. There is a T2 PD now. Electrician knows it's coming and is moving up to defend. He's going to lose his Hydro. He's lost that factory. If that Pigeon, if that Pigeon goes down, that's going to be a massive pickup for Noob. But there's T2 being produced in here by Electrician. He's only got 2 T2 production factories, though Noob has many more. That might be enough. The comm is still naked, so up against T2 turrets, of which there are now 2 of them, it might not be enough. However, this is a lot of blaze firepower, and it could do the damage. I don't think he's going to get that Pigeon, though. The point defences are doing their work. One of them has been taken out there, but and more is swarming in from the front, but eventually Noob has to withdraw. But on this side, he's also attacking as more blazes and more auroras swarm in to take out the expansion here. And the mexes are, or were now, still only T1, but nonetheless, Electrician's going to lose them, and that is not something that Electrician can afford to lose. And Electrician is losing map control everywhere. He's lost this expansion. He's going to lose that factory and those mexes in no time at all. On this side, there's still the army from Noob, and this radar would also be a nice... Oh, he never took that mex. Silly. That radar would be a nice pickup. It's T2. How can Electrician actually stop all this? I don't really know. Nearly 2-to-1 eco down. Ha! And there's some sneaky auroras hovering up here on the pond, but they can't take out these mexes because these mexes are underwater. Well, that's one way that Electrician can handle it. He's got up to T3 land, and he is going for a few Titans. Since blazes have such little in the way of hit points for a T2 unit, and Titans are generally excellent at countering T1 stuff, and to an extent T2, this Titan will be a fantastic counter to the army that Noob is fielding at the moment. However, the problem is that Noob has a lot of it. He's got this army here, he's got this army here, and he's got this army here. And that to a strike force there. He's got so many armies, and Electrician has a Titan. Both comms still naked. Normally you'd have expected one of them to get in on the upgrade action by now. Noob starts his T3 landed upgrade, but there are already 2 Titans on the field for Electrician. Could this be a turning point? But an Electrician is catching up on Eco, but anyway, this Titan comes charging in. It needs to be kiting a little bit more, and it goes down, but it did do a little bit of damage to this army. Still, did it do enough? I'm less sure about that. A second Titan is coming round this side. Is it going to try and clean up this army? Or is it? It's trying to sneak past. It's trying to get here and get some damage done on these less well defended mexes. Meanwhile, Electrician has dropped this side as well. Forward it comes, and the Titan with its shield, if it just picks off these blazes and kites away, it could survive very well indeed. It's getting some damage done, but this army is swarming back to come and hit it. Bomber play from Electrician could be nice. But this Titan is surviving. It takes out a mex and it carries on to where there isn't defense. These mexes are going to be free pickings for this Titan. Now, Electrician is defending here with T3 Mobile Arty, and you don't generally think that T3 Mobile Arty is a decent defensive unit, but I mean, it's doing work. And as Noob is attacking with these mobile missile launchers, that could do very well. If the mobile missile launcher set up a position, the Arty can just bombard them. Although the skulls are providing some cover for it at the moment, and that Arty is quite vulnerable to the missiles, except for this. There's this delicious TMD here, but we've got to look at this. Look, there's T2 mexes in the back for Noob, and this one Titan, this one hero Titan, has made its way around the back and is shooting up these T2 mexes. Engineers going down so they can't rebuild, and Noob's got nothing to defend over here. That's pretty cool. But, as well as the mobile missile launchers, Noob is now swarming in on both sides of Electrician's base, and this could hurt a lot, because this is a big army, and so is this. And sure, there are now Percies on the field, but I don't understand why Electrician's going for Percies here. I mean, he's obviously a way better player than me, but why Percies when your opponent is swarming you with T1 and with the among the lightest of T2 units? Surely Titans are the play here, not Percies. And finishing off what he started earlier, this expansion is now down for Electrician. Noob has actually built on this expansion over here with his own engies. And on both sides of his base, Electrician is in trouble. His comm isn't. His comm is safe under the water. His comm is naked though, so on the plus side, he's safe under the water, but on the minus side, he can't really help out. All his defense here is T2 point defenses and Perseverers. And Perseverers with their huge alpha strike shoot a blaze to death in one hit like that, but is that going to be enough? Sure, he's got 5 Percies, but that's a lot more than 5 blazes, and these further artillery pieces will really be able to do the damage. Also, how's Electrician's power? He's only generating 900, and if that fusion reactor goes down, which this time I think it might, he is gonna be in some trouble. He's losing his core mexes here. The mobile missile launchers are pummeling his base. The Percies are walking around at their extra slow pace trying to defend. However, the T2 PDs have done a lot of their job, and those furthers are wiped out before they can get massive amounts of damage done. In fact, Electrician has somehow defended, but he's lost core mexes. He's lost these mexes. Noob has straight up taken these mexes. So 37 to 63 mass, a massive lead for Noob. Electrician does have most of the plateaus. He has 1, 2, 3, 4 out of 6 plateaus, And this MVP Titan, it's killed this Mex and it's rushing around to this one. Look at this. It has killed 2700 mass and it's still fighting. It's regen to full health thanks to its veterancy. This is amazing. If Electrician can make anything out of this, it's because of this one Titan. That's my claim. This one Titan, 100% MVP. And is he going to get the 5th vet? Yes, he is. A 5 vet Titan. But there are Harbies out now, and that could be a problem. Meanwhile, in the middle, Noob is advancing with his comm. Still a naked comm, which is dangerous when Percies are about. But he's got a big army backing it up. Missile launches for attack, arty for attack, and a Harby and a few blazes to take out any units that may come in. That hero Titan is finally defeated by the Harby. It goes down. F's in the chat for this Titan. Meanwhile, this artillery piece is indeed doing work. It's hiding under a shield, and it's firing at any units that come nearby. And with this mainly static attack in the form of mobile missile launches from Noob, it's getting work done. It's already got 2 vets. 2800 mass killed. Nice work from that demolisher. Not as good as that Titan though. And this is a huge swarm of mobile missile launchers, but they have no answer whatsoever to Percy's, and they may be forced to fall back. Noob is coming in, presumably to overcharge a Percy, and he does, although he only manages to take half the health of it. But with this arty piece and the 2 Percies in defense, the mobile missile launches are forced to fall back. So excellent play from Electrician. Another Titan raid comes out to try... I'm gonna say it's trying to take this bit out, but it's not. He's not even stopping to kill these NGs or these mexes. Okay, now he is. He was just running on by, but taking back this position will be big. And now there's nothing to defend. He should easily be able to clean it up. Will he be able to come out and retake it though? That's the question. He falls back from it as a horde of blazes run in, but he's killed the mexes, so that's nice. And Noob is still doubling down on the mobile missile launchers. There's this TMD over here, but a couple more wouldn't go amiss for Electrician now that he can see what... now that he can see what Noob is doing, and Noob takes out one of those T2 pigeons. What's that done to Electrician's power? Well, he's holding up just. But if they can focus the next one, that would be brutal. However, these Percies, they're still just taking out those mobile missile launchers. That whole army is dead. The Titans attack again, but there's a decent horde of blazes. And the blazes are working through that Titan. He's not getting away fast enough. Down he goes. Big push on the left though. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 Harbies. And 7 Harbies is no laughing matter. Unless you find Harbies funny, in which case you'll be laughing like mad at 7 Harbies. Ah, look at them walking around on their silly little legs. Aren't they comic? Right, I finished laughing at the Harbies. Back to the game. These Percies are now almost a little beachhead in and of themselves in this central area. And this is just anti-air. And sure, Electrician's been messing around with T1 bombers, but air isn't the real threat here. In fact, does Electrician even have T2 air? He doesn't. Nor does Noob, come to that. Noob's just come back in and retaken this expansion that he was driven off, and he's got a decent horde of blazes and a couple of AA tanks just in case defending it. Percy's in enough numbers will counter the Harbies though, and this one's just sitting there and taking the fire, so that's going down unless Noob notices it and moves it, which he does, just in the nick of time. However, it might not be in the nick of time enough as the Harby goes down into the red. He's still got this mass of them over here now, and I think he's preparing for another push in around the flank. But although Noob does still have the eco lead, he doesn't have quite the eco lead you might expect from all this map control. Part of that is because Electrician has the plateaus, and he's got T2 on this plateau back here, and Noob doesn't. However, Noob might be about to have something to say about that as he flies in some blazes, and he'll be able to take out these mexes. He hasn't brought an NG with them, which I think would have been the wise choice, but at least he'll do the damage, and this radar, which was a nice little inter-gatherer, will be taken out. These two mexes will both go down. He's pushing in on the left with his crowd of Harbies, and he's sending an extra little excursion out to the back to take out this cluster of mexes. There are Percies in defense, but I think that Noob might have enough to bust his way in with this lot. I don't know, there's 4 Percies now, and Percies beat Harbies. But if this whole lot can mass itself up and charge in, it might just make it in there. These artillery pieces will also help out. There's now 3 of them under a shield, and they can just lay down the fire, and this is actually a lot of Percies. So if, on the other hand, Electrician can mass his stuff up, he can easily wipe out that army with Percy firepower alone. Noob is also massing tanks on this side, but he's not pushing in with them, presumably because of this point defense. And the battle on the left-hand side is joined. The Percies head in. Only a few of them are there so far, and they are massively outnumbered as it stands, so Electrician loses 2 of them, but more are advancing. Will they be in time to save their fellows? 3 Percies dead, but Harbies are going down. The Percies are advancing, and they're trying to chase this whole army down, but now they're falling back. They're thinking this is essentially a lost cause at the moment. We've got to be aware of the other army that Noob has over here, which might push in, and he's got more Harbies massing at the front lines. Meanwhile, there is a beachhead being set up here. It's not really a beachhead, isn't it? It's more of a hilltop head, a little hill fort, being set up by Electrician with a shield, with T1 and T2 point defences. Tactical missile defense, given the predilection for MMLs that we've seen from Noob. It's quite a nice base. And this army doesn't feel keen to commit. Eating up a bit of this reclaim would be nice if the Harbies could do it, but now there's 6 Percies in defense. And the Harbies are not going to survive against 6 Percies. Look at that. They're just being eaten up by the Percies. I'd say it was brutal, but one of my friends was complaining that I called things brutal a bit too much in this cast, and so I'm going to pretend that I'm not going to keep doing it. Spoilers, I am. And what's this drop? We have a drop of engineers heading for the back here, presumably to capture these underwater mexes, which would be pretty funny. However, that firebase is under attack, and it's got point defences, but it hasn't got the Percies. And that firebase is simply being overwhelmed. It looked so hardy, and yet it was toast in seconds to this amount of Harbies and this amount of blazes. The Harbies just eat it up and walk away. More arty defense, and how's that arty looking? Well, nearly 5,000 mass killed by this demolisher, so another unit might get to 5 vets here, which isn't the sort of unit that usually does so. Well, the drop landed, but it immediately just got T1 bombed, so those 6 engines and that transport were wasted. And we've got a big Percy push coming up the middle. How many Percies is that? 10 Percies. That's pretty tough. But it's also very slow, and so we just sat there staring at it for a moment as it didn't really get much done. Meanwhile, these blazes have been dropped onto the next plateau and taking it out, but where are the NG drops to colonize it? Noob wants to take the fight, and Electrician's Percies fall back. They are getting damage done though. And whether or not Noob wants to take the fight, I don't know if Noob should have taken the fight. And it is just amazing to me that Electrician is still in this after being reduced to his base minus some of its core mexes. And even with the map control he's still got and another Percy comes sneaking out here, but one Percy on its own against that many blazers, they can just swarm around it and mob it. I would prefer to see Titans doing this. These engineers come in presumably to try and get some of this reclaim, but the Percies are on point and they have it in hand. And that Percy is getting a little bit of damage, but yeah, look, they're just going to be swarmed down before it really kills anything of any import. Oh, I say that, but it gets a vet, and it might actually get out of there. Nice. Okay, cool. A lot of hero units from Electrician today. That Demolisher, which is now on 5 vets. That Titan that went round the back and did all the hard work. And he's just being annoying with these bombers. They're just T1 bombers, but Noob isn't producing any inties. He's only got static, ground pounding anti-air. And the ground pounding anti-air never seems to be in the right position. So this little cluster of bombers from Electrician is just picking off the mexes. And he's coming down here because he thinks that surely, Noob's going to have this mex. And Noob does plan to have this mex, but he hasn't got it yet. So the bombers just bomb nothing. If they're still bombing that when the NGs are landed, that would be quite funny. But they're not. They've been told to stand there. Meanwhile, the Percy parade, the platoon, is pushing back Noob's army. And again, we're attempting to see a base being set up for Electrician here on the mexes of the central plateau. Noob wants to have something to say about that, and he has got 2 armies swarming in here. But now the Percy count is getting significant. Now we're up to 17 Percies. And even though there's some T1 in here which can swarm some Percies, 17 Percies should be more than enough to stop it and the Harbies combined. Noob has at last dropped an NG on this plateau, and he is building it. But how long will it last? These bombers haven't noticed the NG, and I think they might be set to stand ground or something, because if they weren't, they'd have launched and killed that one NG. But also, Noob's forgotten that NG and hasn't built anything, so mistakes were made on both sides. And let's stop and notice that Electrician has caught up and overtaken in eco. Despite the map control deficit, despite being reduced to the point of losing core mexes and Noob owning the rest of the map, Electrician has rebuilt and regained, and he has caught up in eco. That's wild. Those bombers have launched, and there's now quite a lot of them, and if they can get damage done in the central base of Noob, that could be pretty fun. There is a T1 anti-air turret in there, but they're going for his power, and I don't know if Noob has the power to spare. Boom! Down it goes. And he immediately sets about rebuilding it, but as the bombers are picked off by there's now flak in there as well. But what's it done to his power? Well, he's very much on the breadline, but he's holding out. And again, he's got these armies positioned on the flanks, but they're not able to get in, and they're not able to get any traction. And Electrician has split his Percies left and right. I'm not actually sure I like that, because this is only 6 Percies, and there's enough Harbies here that it might get a couple if they're microed well. Ha! 5 Harbies, 5 Percies. The Percies are getting the damage done, though. Percies are just so strong against the other T3 units. He has lost 2 though, but he's got more than enough to defend. On this side, Noob attempts to make a little foray around the side, but these Percies are moving back and forth in an attempt to be wherever this army ends up, and it looks like they're sort of managing. But while the Percies are split up, Noob pushes in through the middle. These arties have advanced, including Mr. Hero Arty here, who's now got 6,000 mass killed. But I think that Titan is going to be followed by the arty as our second hero unit is taken out by the forces of Noob. And this entire firebase is once again taken out. The mexes go down, the factory's probably going to go down. Actually, this mex might just stay up as Percy's push in to save it. Over here, hordes and hordes of T1 arty engage the Percies, and the Percies are taking a lot of damage. Electrician is forced to retreat once again. And on this side, he's fallen back and he's pincered the Percies on the left. Are they all dead? They are. Brutal. Sorry I missed that, but not only did they take out this firebase, they killed the Percies. Electrician has lost a decent horde of Percies, but he's got Percies coming through the water here and into the base. They're taking out power. There is a comm coming in here to overcharge him. Naked is dangerous in the face of Percies, but with the comms overcharge combined with the Harbies, I think he's going to do it. However, if he can take out this second pigeon as well, that would be amazing. And he does. And he does. The Percy's going down, but it's done its work. And how's Noob's power looking? Well, Noob is power stored, and his mass is dropping down to just 50 from the 70 it was on a minute ago. So Noob desperately needs power as a result of that Percy attack. Nice work from Electrician. I don't know what word I was trying to say starting with M there, but I tried to say it and I failed. Maximum attack from Electrician? Who can say? I certainly can't. I certainly couldn't say the word, whatever it was. But the Percies are flowing thick and fast. On this side, an army tries to catch them out, and I like the fervour as a counter to Percies. So the Percies are going to be caught out, and Noob isn't going to lose too many Harbies here. Percy's setting up position here, and once again, Electrician is trying to rebuild on these mexes. Will he this time be able to hold it? Don't know why he's got the Cougars out. Have we got T2 air from Noob? We have not, so the Cougars seem like a massive overkill that aren't going to really get anything done. If anyone knows why Electrician has built some Cougars there, please tell me, because I can't figure it out. And these mexes that were once held by, I think they were once held by Noob, they're not anymore. These mexes are under threat. Could it be that Electrician has actually managed to retake the middle here? I think it might be, you know. And Electrician's ahead in eco. This is an amazing comeback. These plateaus have finally been built on by Noob. This one still hasn't. But I think his power's back in hand. Yes, it is. So now he's just behind in eco, but also, look at this. He's actually having trouble spending all the eco he's making. Although a portion of that was reclaim, he's still having trouble spending all the mass he's getting. So he needs some more production. He's got 2 T3 factories and 1 T2 factory still on the no, 2 T2 factories both still on blazes. I would like to see more Harbies and perhaps even sniper bots given all the Percies from Noob. That could be a winning play if he goes for it. And what are these engines? Oh, they're planning reclaim, but the reclaim's gone. This engine's eaten it. So these engineers are just free mass for Electrician to eat up. And Noob realizes that and moves them away. On this side though, the Percies are making a push, and I'll tell you what doesn't defend against Percies, T1 point defense. Look at that, boom, down it goes. This is a lot of Percies, there's more production coming up here. How many support factories have we got back here making Percies now? Only one that I can see. He's got T3 power up, which is nice. And the Percies push forward. I'm surprised he hasn't yet sent a bunch of Percies to retake this area here, which could easily be taken back if he wanted, given what he's now got on the field. And again, Noob creeps ahead in eco, but has he got the production to use it? And has he been producing the right things? Finally, one of our players goes for tech to air, and that player is Electrician. He loses one Percy as it gets a bit out of position here, and he's bringing all the rest back towards the middle. Does he think he needs to defend against this? However, all these units in this mass here are faster than Percy, so this needs to be where his production goes, and these Percies should be able to fight elsewhere. At least, that's the way I see it. This time with stealth to protect his point defences, and he's gone for the artillery again. And this one's getting kills, this one's got a couple of kills, so they're again doing good work. Are there enough Percies here? I don't know if there are. On this side though, we've had a bomber taking out one of the mexes. Just a little reminder that Electrician hasn't forgotten about this side, he just hasn't chosen to take it yet. But here, this is where we have to watch, look at this. Loads of Harpies, but not as many as there are Percies, and while the amount of fervor and blade spam looks impressive, I don't know if it's going to be enough when the arties are raining down their fire into the mass of spam that Noob's brought along, and the Harpies are made short work of, and the fervors are just being blapped instantly whenever a Percy fires at them. And suddenly there's nothing really for Noob here, and the Percies are advancing. Could this be the first real full frontal attack we've had from Electrician for quite some time? He's got a few more heading up the side here, but this attack is surely where it's all going to be at. And we also have another sneaky Percy raiding around the side. It's taken out these mexes. Will it die to the Harpy before it takes out the Harpy? I think it might actually take out the Harpy. Come on, Percy. Nope, it's just shooting at the engineers of Noob. But here, oops, rather terrible cam work there. Procaster, oh yes. Here come the Percies. And there are so many of them. What has Noob got that can actually defend against this mass of Percies? I mean, he's got mass, but is he spending it? Noob is still slightly ahead in mass, but he's just not got the factories. And Electrician going straight for T3 air. Since we're still only at T1 from Noob, that could be immense. But this, oh, that almost looked like a mistake, as what's Noob's comm doing? If this many Percies see his comm, he's dead meat. And he's going to try and overcharge a Percy, and he does overcharge a Percy. He walks forward, he's going to try and overcharge another Percy. This is a bit courageous from Noob, who is standing right here. And all those Percies, they focus him. They focus him and they focus him and boom. Electrician, after being reduced to just his own starting base minus a couple of mexes, has somehow come back, caught up in eco, built a massive swarm of Percies, charged into Noob's base, and won the game. Amazing. Percy power wins the day. Now you'd have thought that if your map control was down to a little bit of your starting base, you'd probably be out of it, but not Electrician. Great work. And that Titan, absolute MVP. Tell me what you thought in the comments below. While you're down there, don't forget to like, subscribe, and obey. I'm the Commissar. I will see you next time.